Hey everyone, it's Justin here. In the last video, I showed you the old school way of envelope budgeting. But for a lot of us today, in the age of computers and digital money, physical envelopes aren't that much use. In this video, I'm going to show you the 21st century way of envelope budgeting by using spreadsheets. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to simulate envelope budgeting using a spreadsheet. First, we'll review the budgeting priorities from the last video to set up a rough budget. Then I'll show you how to make the spreadsheet automatically calculate the remaining amount in each envelope as you spend your money. Finally, I'm sure you'd like to know how much savings you're putting away each month, so I'll show you how to automatically calculate that as well. Now, in the last lesson, you saw that you can keep track of a budget by putting cash into envelopes. But when your money's digital, what takes the place of envelopes? Simple. Your envelopes become rows on a spreadsheet. Put the same labels on each row that you would on your envelopes. We'll call this the expense category. We'll also label 3 more columns. Budget, so we know how much we're allowed to spend on each category and adjust it if necessary. Spent, where you'll enter how much of the money you've spent so far, and remaining, where you'll be able to see how much is left. If you've already figured out how much to budget for each category, that's awesome. So go ahead and type those amounts in. If you haven't calculated your budget yet, check out the previous video for a reminder of how to do so. For a quick recap, do your fixed needs first with the exact amount they'll cost, then overestimate for your variable needs so you're sure to have enough. Next, your fixed wants will cost exactly as much as they always do. And with what's left over, you can divvy up what you believe is a reasonable amount to spend on your variable wants. You also want a savings envelope, row, to dedicate part of your income straight to savings. Put however much you want. Remember that the 50-30-20 rule suggests you put 20% of your income. You'll also get extra chances to save money as you use your budget, so we'll use this row to keep track. At this point, we could start entering spent and remaining values, but then this spreadsheet would be no better than a table. To fully utilize the spreadsheet's capabilities, we need to let formulas and functions do the math for us. With physical envelopes, whenever we spend money, that amount is being subtracted from what we originally put in the envelope. So our formula should mimic that. The remaining amount for my power bill should be equal to the budgeted amount in B2 minus what I've already spent in C2. Let me show you a neat trick. If you want a bunch of cells to calculate the same way, enter the formula into one cell, then click and drag this little square in the corner of the cell across the rest of the cells you want to use that formula. When you let go, it will copy the formula to all of those cells. I know it just looks like a copy of the budget column right now, but that's because we haven't spent anything yet. If we click on any of the cells and look in the formula bar, we see that every cell will take the amount in column B and subtract what's in column C. Now we're ready to start using the spreadsheet. Let's say that I pay my rent on the first of the month. It's a fixed expense, and I knew exactly how much it would be. So after I pay it, there is absolutely nothing remaining in that envelope. Let's go ahead and say that I've paid all my fixed costs for this month, both needs and wants. Since they're fixed expenses, the remaining amount is 0. So fixed expenses are easy. If you budgeted the right amount, they will all have 0 remaining at the end of the month. But that's kind of boring if you ask me. Variable expenses are a lot less boring, so let's talk about those. Remember that you intentionally over-budgeted for your variable needs to make sure you'd have enough money. So after you pay them, you should hopefully have money left over. See? I have plenty of hold on. Looks like my power bill was a little higher than I expected. Luckily, the money left over from my groceries and water budgets is more than enough to cover it. See, that's another reason why over-budgeting for variable needs is a good idea. If one does end up being unexpectedly high, it'll be covered by the excess from the others. Your variable wants will be the hardest part of your budget to follow. It's tempting to just spend and spend and spend on these things, but you only budgeted this much. So once you have nothing remaining in that envelope, you are done. You have to stop yourself from spending on that expense anymore for the month. But for any expenses that you don't use up, you end up with extra money for your savings. Which reminds me, how do we actually get that extra money into your savings? You don't have to do it yourself. A formula will do it for you. For your savings, we want to take your original amount of savings, in my case $600, plus all the remaining amounts added together using the sum function. With this formula, you'll be able to see your total savings, including anything that hasn't been used from your other envelopes. You don't even have to wait to type in that formula either. If you have it there from the start before you actually spend any money, then as your budget is updated throughout the month, then your savings amount will also update. This way you can keep an eye on how much savings you've got banked throughout the month and see how your spending habits affect how much you're able to save for the future. Envelope budgeting, whether it uses physical envelopes or a computer, is only one method of budgeting. But most methods follow a similar process. Decide on spending limits, then track how much you've spent already, how much is left, and how much you've saved. If you keep doing this, month after month, you'll be able to keep adding to your savings. And build up a huge nest egg to cover an emergency, or to pay for a large purchase like a car or a house. Luckily, there are other resources out there to help you with budgeting. In the next few lessons, we'll discuss other budgeting resources you can use, including how to read and use account statements from financial institutions, and the ways you can use special websites and apps to enhance your budget tracking. See you then!